Can a random moment of kindness spawn a worldwide movement? Yes, it can.
The solutions are simple. We just need more kindness.
In late 2023, the nonprofit Kindness Worldwide was launched in York, Pennsylvania.
One kind act, followed by another, one person at a time. That's how we change the world. And that's the vision of Kindness Worldwide.
Community leaders, corporate supporters, and one very special VIP gathered to learn about Kindness Week and to see the good, be the good, go the extra mile.
We also create a culture of kindness by officially recognizing it. It's the one thing that unites us all.
This movement wouldn't be happening without one single life-changing moment. On Good Friday, York businessman Kevin Smith's trip to the grocery ended in a panic. His wallet was missing. But just moments after returning home, he heard his Ring doorbell. On camera, out front, Good Samaritan Brooke Dubbs was holding up his lost wallet. She'd found it at the store, looked at his ID, and immediately drove over.
This is just something I did, not even second nature, just to return something that wasn't mine.
For Kevin, it was an epiphany.
This one act of kindness changed my life by giving me a new perspective and renewed sense of purpose.
Brooke's kindness became news, both locally and around the world.
We really felt that this was a newsworthy event and that it would potentially inspire people and make a difference. But as beautiful as this story is, I think the most beautiful part's gonna be what happens next.
Kevin knew he had to pay it forward.
This one act of kindness inspired me to pay it forward. I'm here to announce the formation of the nonprofit Kindness Worldwide, which formally launches today.
People are inspired, and that's making a difference. The Giant Company made a $26,000 contribution and became the first exemplar sponsor.
Kindness is not a weakness that sometimes people think of. It truly is a strength that has the power to drive change and build a brighter future for all. The Giant Company, we believe in our purpose is connecting families for a better future. In the world where it's full of uncertainties and challenges, kindness can come in and it can help remind us that we have so much more in common than our differences. Kindness transcends any differences, borders, and distances, and uniting us in our shared humanities.
The spirit of Kindness Worldwide and Kindness Week is getting support from organizations like the American Red Cross, local police departments, and the York County SPCA.
And thank you for your leadership, Kevin, and inspiration in taking what could have been like this one-off moment of kindness, and instead of it just becoming a moment, you turned it into a movement. And I think that that's pretty fantastic.
Now, people are being recognized with kindness citations. Colleges and schools are showcasing kindness, and donations inspired by Kindness Worldwide are being administered by Give Local York to charities in need.
If one act of kindness can lead to even more acts of kindness, as in this instance, imagine how much more kindness we can collectively inspire.
Kevin has also made a significant donation in Brooke's name to the YCSPCA's Second Chance Fund, providing life-saving surgical care to injured animals, and created a new fund at the York County Community Foundation called Kindness Coattails to establish kindness curricula.
There will be a perpetual fund that will benefit the community and acts of kindness. So as he says, kindness in our community truly will pay forever.
This is just the beginning. The Kindness Worldwide team is asking community-minded corporate brands to help amplify our efforts.
And so this story is no longer Brooke's or mine. It's how our community and beyond embraces it. They can embrace it in their own way, limited only by their imagination and creativities. And what this story proves, again, is that no act of kindness is too small to make a difference and change a life. My life has been profoundly changed by this one act of kindness.
I'm more than blessed he's been in my life after that, and I'm grateful I returned someone's wallet like Evan.
Sponsorships and many other methods of support are available. We invite you to join the movement with us. Please visit www.kindnessworldwide.org.
My goodness. All right. Hey, welcome everybody to an inspiring episode again with Kevin Smith of kindnessworldwide.org to the Hounds of Business Community Live, man. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We've got, oh, wow, packed house already. Hey, no surprise there, Kevin. We've got Dr. New, the kindness queen, right? And one of the kindness ambassadors of Kindness Worldwide. Thank you so much for joining us. She was here like 30 minutes early, man. It's unbelievable. And then we've got Danielle. Thank you so much for coming. And people are piling it. Lisa Frederick is here. So good to see you. Oh, wow. Omar and Susanna. Wow. Thank you, folks, for tuning in. Kevin Smith, how are you, my friend? What a video. What a mission. What a story, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good, my friend. It's kind of the story of my life these days. It's you know the only difference between a good day and a bad day, Mike.
What's that?
It's your attitude.
Yeah, I'm learning that.
I choose to see the good in every day. So every day is a good day, my friend.
Man, I've had a big consecutive number of bad ones, or challenging, right? I got pneumonia and all kind of stuff, man. 10 days, but there's so much to be grateful for, right? Even running water, stuff I take for granted. So, man, this movement is not a joke. This is the real deal. I'm just so excited to see it going across the world. And really thrilled that the Hounds of Business got to get in this fairly early, man. It's an honor to do it. So how would you like to start? We've seen the video. Some folks are coming in late. If you want to give the little mini story, and by the way, we are going to have a special guest. He's out there like a superhero. Steven Martinez will be joining us, but he has to go make sure that some pets are safe and things. So he will be popping in. So don't leave. You want to hear this. This is the most crazy, amazing. I want to move to York. That's all I'm going to say. This community, man, is just something out of a daggum Hallmark movie or something. It is absolutely extraordinary, and it's proof that it can happen, and we're going to make it happen, Kevin. So take it away, my friend.
Well, I am so excited about this live stream and to talk about the York County SPCA's role in this magical story. And it's not a footnote. I mean, the York County SPCA plays a very, very prominent role. And as you'll soon learn, if it weren't for a comment by Steven Martinez and another series of a twist of fate and circumstances, Kindness Worldwide wouldn't exist. I mean, that's how prominent of a role York County SPCA plays. So the video that everyone just saw was from the launch event of Kindness Worldwide, which was November 9th, 2023. This act of kindness occurred on Good Friday morning, April 7th, 2023. And a fascinating chain of events ultimately inspired me to form, Kindness Worldwide, which has a vision to create a culture of kindness in communities throughout the world. And what has happened since November 9, 2023 is nothing less than magical, if not miraculous. And so many of you know I was in Palermo, Italy, and gave a keynote address at the General Assembly of the World Kindness Movement. And, this movement of Kindness Week Worldwide is spread to communities all over the world. It's growing, and there's movements within the movements. But many people know the story of Kindness Worldwide and, the lost wallet. And as fascinating as that story is, but there are so many stories within the story that are equally fascinating. And the York County SPCA role is one of them. And so let me just kind of go back and revisit, Good Friday morning, 2023. Obviously, this young woman magically appeared like an angel out of heaven, out of nowhere, within moments after I realized my wallet was missing, and holding my wallet in my driveway, asking if it was mine. And at the time, I was overwhelmed by what had occurred. She literally went the extra mile, 2.6 miles to be exact, to return my wallet without hesitation the moment she found it. And I thanked her profusely, offered her a monetary reward. She refused to accept it. As she was about to drive away, I had the impulse to ask her name. And she said it was Brooke. And that's all I knew was her first name. And when we walked back inside, I was just overwhelmed by what had just happened. It inspired me, and I felt I should have done more. I felt I should have gone the extra mile for her like she did for me. And kind of reflexively, impulsively, I just emailed the news, all the local news channels, one of which replied and ultimately did an interview with me the following Monday. And I felt that if a news program would cover the story, it would inspire others. But more importantly, that it would, if this young woman would see it, it would be a way of acknowledging her in a more meaningful way, which is very important to me. Well, they did the interview the following Monday. It aired that evening. And by Tuesday, the next day, it had gone viral. Literally spread, as you saw in the video, all over the country. And all the comments, all the positivity that this story evoked. I mean, everyone was complimenting Brooke and what a wonderful thing she did. And I was like, wow, I mean, she did this. And does she even know? I mean, this about, all the positivity it inspired, and it weighed on me that she may not. And again, all I knew was her first name. Well, Mike, no Hail Mary pass was ever caught that was never attempted. I decided to throw one of my own. Any guesses how many Brooks there are on Facebook?
And then you got the E. Is it E at the end of Brooke? Is it not? Like, yeah, then you got an even bigger problem. Yeah, keep going.
It was all instinct. Well, I assumed it was an E. I had no idea. So I searched under Facebook under the name Brooke with an E. And I scrolled and I scrolled and I scrolled. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many minutes I scrolled. And honest to God, literally, I'm ready to give up. The very next swipe of my finger, a profile picture of a young woman and her dog caught my eye. And I know you have, I think, a screenshot. I think I have that actual picture, profile picture, and what happened next, because
is this it?
There it is. There you go. And that picture on the left, that profile picture of her and her dog caught my eye, and it resonated. I thought maybe it's her, not sure. So I messaged her on Facebook, and in that middle part of that slide, you'll see the actual outreach. I had her on Facebook. I attached the link to the article, and I said, did you see this? Do you know how much positive this has inspired? I wanted to thank her, and you'll see at the bottom, she said, yes, this is me. And she actually thanked me for thanking her. She was very modest and humble throughout, and she did ironically had seen the story. In fact, she was watching it when it aired live with her friend. I mean, just coincidentally happened to see it, and her friend says, "Brooke, that's you." And so I was relieved that she saw the story, but still something weighed on me. Not really weighed on me. I still felt there was still more I should do. And I discovered this young woman, and I thought, well, hey, this young woman did a wonderful thing that made national headlines. And I emailed the news again. Hey, I found this young woman, and don't you want to know about her? And the media had moved on, but I didn't. I'm like, well, I thought they'd want to know, and they didn't.
Say that again. The media moved on, but I didn't.
Yeah, there you go.
Coming. Yeah. That's everybody in the hounds. Y'all chime in on that one, right? Everybody moved on, but we couldn't. Keep going, brother.
Well, as fate and circumstance would have it, 2 days later, Inside Edition reached out to me. I got an email from Inside Edition. Wow. Millions of viewers every evening. It's one of the most popular syndicated news programs in the country. And I thought it was a joke initially, but they became aware of the story, and they asked if I knew who Brooke was, and if she might be willing to do an interview with her and I. And of course, Brooke agreed. I wasn't sure. I wanted to be protective of her privacy. I'm very protective of her. And I was excited because now people are going to know who this young woman is. She's going to be known to others, and as well as known to me. And so the Friday that interview was supposed to occur, at the very last minute, it was postponed. Another storyline emerged. It took a higher priority. The understanding was at the time they were going to reschedule it. Long story short, the story never aired. The interview never occurred. And that's one of many great ironies in this fascinating story, because had that story aired, my work is done. She's publicly recognized. And because it didn't, the irony is a story that never aired became the story of Kindness Worldwide that it later became. And so they didn't do the interview. I'm like, now what? I still felt I got to do something to acknowledge this young woman publicly, felt she deserved it. Well, as fate and circumstance would have it, now we fast forward to April 25th. Again, just a couple of weeks after this occurred. And I had a meeting scheduled with Steven Martinez. Steven is the executive director of the York County SPCA, who you're going to meet here momentarily. I used to be on the board of directors of the York County SPCA. I served 12 years. I was on the executive committee. And I was actually on the search committee. We needed to find a new executive director, and we did a number of interviews. And Steven was the one we ultimately selected, and what a blessing that was. And so I went off the board a couple years earlier, but Steven would meet with me from time to time. He'd update me on the organization. And so we had a meeting on April 25th that was scheduled long before the events of Good Friday morning. And this meeting was at Prince Street Cafe in downtown York, which a lot of pivotal meetings and moments happened at Prince Street Cafe in this adventure. But Steven was late for this meeting. And he apologized profusely for being late. Said, Kevin, I am so, so sorry. Any guesses, Mike, why Steven was late?
I would love to give 5 seconds for the audience to chime in, because I heard this over and over again. This is one of my favorite parts of the story. Anybody take a wild guess why Steven was late to the meeting? I think we're good now. Go ahead.
Well, would you believe he forgot his wallet?
What's the odds, right?
There you go.
Car keys, whatever, but it had to be a wallet. The same thing that caused this whole thing to get started, man. That you can't make it up. Keep going.
Honestly, you can't. I mean, and like I shook my head, I'm like, you lost your wallet. And I said to Steven, I said, did you hear about my lost wallet story? And by then everyone had heard about it, but Steven hadn't. He was one of the few who hadn't heard the story. And I share with him what occurred and how I discovered this young woman due to the profile picture of her dog. Her dog is named Tater, by the way, due to that profile picture. And Steven made a comment. And this comment is very, very important. It's critical in the history of kindness worldwide. He said, Kevin, I've always felt that pets are like social glue that bond people and communities together. And I agree with that comment. I'm an animal lover, always have been. And after that meeting on the drive home, again, instinct, something said there's a deeper connection with this young woman. I felt it, sensed it. So I scrolled her Facebook feed again. And what I discovered is that she's passionate about animals like I am, but she's also a very big supporter of the York County SPCA. And that was when I had the idea of making a donation to the York County SPCA in her honor. And this idea of a community celebration of kindness at which she would be honored, that's when an idea took root. Wow. And then it just became a fascinating adventure, indescribable adventure of a lifetime. But, you know, pets are the glue that bond people and communities together. Let's have a community celebration of kindness. We'll have it at the York County SPCA, right? And then it became a function of, well, what does a community celebration of kindness entail? And then all these ideas kept coming. It was like, well, it occurred to me that it was National French Fry Day. I'm like, I like French fries. French fries are good. Too many French fries aren't good. And I'm like, we have days, weeks, even months for celebrate a lot of things. And it occurred to me, we don't really do enough to elevate and showcase kindness. And there's a World Kindness Day, but even then, many people aren't aware of it. And I'm like, that needs to change. And so I reached out to the York County commissioners and to say, hey, can we proclaim a kindness week? And they agreed. And then I went to Adams County commissioners and they agreed. And I'm like, well, let's keep going. I went to Governor Shapiro and he agreed. I would have kept going, but I ran out of time. And they're like, well, what is kindness? Okay, now we got it proclaimed. We're going to elevate kindness to I believe it's humanity's greatest asset. So we recognize it through a kindness week. Well, what else? And then I thought, well, kindness citations was an idea that emerged. Let's improve, police community relations and showcase, the good that happens in our communities and the people doing good work in our communities. And then it occurred to me about having blood drives, very symbolic of paying an act of kindness forward. It can literally change lives. And all these ideas just kept coming and coming. And it took on a life of its own. And by then, it actually outgrew the SPCA. We held the event. Actually, our launch event was at Wellspan Park, the home of the York Revolution, York's professional baseball team. And that was what you saw in that video that opened the segment. That was at Wellspan Park in York, Pennsylvania. That was when we launched Kindness Worldwide. And of course, many of you know what will happen next. But that's the connection. And again, had that coincidence not occurred, had Steven not made that comment he did, Kindness Worldwide wouldn't have existed because that really led to the chain of events that followed.
Hey, so it's like Beetlejuice. You said his name 3 times. Guess who we got back here? Guess who's here now? He's done rescuing the pups.
The hour has arrived.
Yeah. You ready to bring him up? I've been ready.
You bet. You bet.
Tell a favorite pet story. This is just more than nice little organization. These people, man, I'm gonna let them bring them up. I can't even speak. Check this out. Steven Martinez. Hey, York County SPCA. Welcome to the show, brother. How are you?
I am super excited to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Oh man, our pleasure. Absolutely, man. We've been planning this for a long time, and we've been dying for this moment. And I'm sick, and I don't care, dude. That's how excited. I forgot. So Kevin was just ending up this story, right?
Okay.
About how you lost your wallet, right? And and instead of ending it there, right? When hey, let's do some nice donation and Brooke's honor and all this. Boom. Here we are. Like, it's unbelievable. So from your perspective of this story, that's what we didn't hear last time, right? Last month when we had this on. So what is your perspective of this thing? Like when you heard this, what was your response and reaction, and how did all this amazing stuff happen, man?
Oh, I mean, like Kevin Smith is an awesome guy. He's an incredible guy. And it's like, you have an encounter with Kevin, and it's sort of be careful what you say to Kevin Smith because he might start a movement. It's one of those things. And
he's on a roll.
What's that?
He's on a roll, isn't he?
Yeah. He's like an awesome guy. I mean, he's on a roll, and he's spreading kindness, and like we need that. So it's a thing to be supportive of. And so Kevin and I were kind of like, Kevin, I'm sorry, I missed the beginning half, so I don't know what you covered, but I'll give my perspective. But
well, maybe share your perspective of losing your wallet and kind of everything that was going through your mind and how it all evolved.
Yeah. So like, that thing happened with Kevin, and then like a day or two or a few days later, we just happened to like connect, and I lost my wallet, and he was like, I'm going to tell you this story. And, it was just like a serendipitous moment. And we got to talking, and we were just like, it was like in that moment a few years ago, it was like very tense. We needed more kindness in the world. And I happened to have said to Kevin that it was like, pets are social glue. They're like the common bond between people with little less in common who otherwise would never have spoken to one another or empathized with one another if not for their pets. So that's special. That's like a thing to protect in our community. It's like, it doesn't matter where you're at on the political spectrum, right? Republican, Democrat, like we all agree you don't kick a dog. and if you do, like, we're going to come for you. Like that's not okay. Like that is neutral territory. It makes us all feel good. It brings people who otherwise would not have empathized or connected with one another together. And it kind of like tied into this theme of kindness that had occurred to Kevin. And like, I feel like that was one of the many things that planted that seed with you, Kevin. And then you just like ran with it. And like, I was just fortunate enough to ride the Kevin Smith kindness wave. And I feel like we've been an important part of that, because I think a lot of people can find common ground in that. And from there, Kevin, you've been able to build this movement of kindness, which we all need and want to embrace. So it's just been like a really cool experience to be a part of it.
And Steve's a very humble guy as well. And Steve always diminishes his role in this adventure, but it really is. It's not just a footnote. It is really, it's that important. And it was that consequential because it planted a seed. It was a big seed. And one thing, just kind of getting back to some of my comments earlier, which I failed to mention, is in that image of the profile picture of Brooke and her dog, and of course that initial text outreach, far right. I don't know if you can pull that up again, but after Inside Edition didn't do a story, which disappointed me because I wanted to be recognized. And I reached out to Brooke again, and I asked if she had heard anything, and she says no, and she said, I'm just a blurry face.
Yeah.
And that comment, think about that comment, like, well, you're more than a blurry face. You did this wonderful thing. And that was a very meaningful thing that you did. And, thank you. And, you're more than that. But think about how many people often have that mindset, they I'm just a blurry face, kind of like it's kind of indicative of something more. Like at the end of the day, we all just want to be seen. Everyone wants to be appreciated, feel valued. And that comment, again, struck a chord with me because you're more than that. And that also kind of weighed on me, that inspired me to want to do more, to make sure she's not the blurry face. And that led to this chain of events and with Steven and this community celebration of kindness, which evolved to Kindness Week Worldwide and the global movement since. But Steven is a very, very visionary leader. And the donation I made to the York County SPCA was to a fund called the Second Chance Fund. Very symbolic. York County SPCA does many, many things for the community. People think it's just an animal organization. No, it's a community organization. It does so many things. And Steve will talk about those things. But one is they have a fund. It's called the Second Chance Fund. And there are many people who have pets who have need care or surgeries, and they can't afford it. And these animals otherwise, or they come into the shelter, might not otherwise get the care they need. So this fund actually gives them a new leash on life. Literally,
that leash. Yeah.
New leash on life. And in many respects, this act of—
Can I just say, like, the animal puns in my world, they're like infinite. There's no end to them, right, Kevin? Like, that.
That's right. Well, this act of kindness in many respects gave me a new lease on life. It made me see the world differently. It opened up a new paradigm. Let the good's the norm, not the exception. And let's see the good. And so it was very symbolic. And just like this act of kindness, in many cases, I would say life-saving, but it was life-changing. And so donating that fund was very meaningful. But the SPCA does so many other things and so many programs. And under Steven's leadership, which he's going to talk about, I mean, it's been transformational to the York County SPCA and the community. And the save rate was 53% when Steven became leading the organization. It grew up to 95%, with the highest in the country in 3 years. It's visionary leadership. It's passion and purpose with heart. When you have those three essentials together, literally, there's nothing that can't be achieved. And I want Steven to talk about all the wonderful things that under his leadership and his team and what the community has done, because York is a model. It's the epicenter of this global movement. But the York County SPCA is also a model to animal rescue organizations all throughout the country by changing the paradigm of what's possible and believing what's possible and seeing it manifest. I'd love for Steven to talk about that.
Hey, and real quick, I want to interject. I ran a nonprofit for 3 years. And so what's exceptional is, man,
I'm surprised you don't have gray hair. Like, how do you not, like, if you ran a nonprofit, how do you not have gray hair?
I just got good editing software, man.
Okay. That's what it is. That makes sense. Okay, got it.
Man, but it's not just the job. I mean, you have really, you want to go above and beyond just pets and find the root cause of what's causing the pet issue, right? And it was a people issue. And this is, I don't want to spill the beans, but this is what I mean. You just really got to know your community, got to know people. You went above and beyond, the pay grade that you were required to do. And I know firsthand how important and impactful, and that's just good-heartedness right there, man. So I wanted to shout it out. I want to see you two blush, man, because y'all don't do it enough. It's well earned, dadgummit. So hey, take it away. How has all these, and take your time. We want to make sure we'll pull the website up. You tell me what pictures you want to show up there. I want folks to understand, because Kindness Worldwide wants to make this as a model. We want to show this and display this communal aspect and all these great things happening in York, and really make a serious dent in this world together. This is not theory. This is happening right now. And you were one of the forerunners to this, brother. So thank you. So take it away, man.
You know what, Mike? I love it when you butter me up. That makes me, I love it so much. You're the best. That was a great setup. So I don't even know where to begin, because I'm so passionate about this work. It's like I could go in a million directions. So Mike, you rein me in when I get a little too rogue. But the first place I would start is, it's like, how do we think about success? So, okay, in my world, animal services, right? So why should we even care about that? Here's why I think. So at a minimum, 65% of households have a pet in them. 65% of households at a minimum have a pet in them. 95% of those pet owners view their pet as a member of the family. Like, think about that. Like, it's not just an animal plowing the field, it's a tool. No, like, our culture has evolved to the point where today, how we feel and think about our animal is not just an animal, but as a member of the family. 65% of households have a pet in them. 95% of animals or pet owners view their pet as a member of the family. I work for the York County SPCA, which means that we are responsible for providing services that keep people and pets together. Another way of saying that, there you go, Kevin. He's a member of your family, right? You got him from us.
This is Bella. She'll probably steal the show. She's a little ham. She's my little girl.
Yeah. And so like our job is to keep people and pets together so that they don't have to come to the shelter. And so like the first question, like when people are trying to like measure, like get a measure of me, like try to suss out like how impactful we are in a community, typically like the go-to question is how many animals do you take in a given year? And I'm like, really, is that our measure of success? Like how many animals we accept in? Because really like we're building programs that keep people and pets together so they don't have to come into the shelter. In other words, we're keeping the whole family united with their furry family member. And oftentimes in most communities, that shelter, your go-to shelter, is it for the whole community. That's certainly it for the York County SPCA. So all of the stray, abandoned, dangerous, displaced, lost pets, they're all funneling into our building, and not just dogs and cats, domesticated animals. They're all funneling into our building. And our job is to help them, get them healthy, get them behaviorally safe so that we can place them into a loving, permanent home. Like that's a hard problem to solve for. So Kevin said that when I started, we had a 53% save rate. So like the most important thing that I could say to anybody who wants to know anything about animal services, like if I could pick one thing, it'd be like the concept of save rate. And so save rate is an easy calculation to make. It says that of all the animals that come in alive in a given year into that building, into that animal resource center, of all the animals that come in alive in a given year, in that same year, how many have a live outcome? Animals in, animals out, divide the number, you get a percentage. That's save rate. So when I started, we had a 53% save rate, which means that about half the animals that came in alive in a given year, our furry family members, did not have a live outcome. We were just euthanizing healthy animals because we didn't have space or we couldn't figure it out. And that wasn't because we weren't smart or because we didn't care. That is like the national save rate at that time was like 65%. So like a lot of animal shelters across the country struggle with high euthanasia rates. So what Kevin's trying to say in his like nice Kevin way is like what we've been doing in York County is special. It's unique. Like we figured out a life-saving model that can get a regular animal shelter like the York County SPCA from a 53% save rate to a 95% save rate. So like we created this like life-saving model that was successful. And we went from 53% to 65 to 79 to 85 and then eventually 95%. And for the last 3 years, we've been up 90% or above, which means that we're classified.
By the way, if I'm not mistaken, Steven, isn't that one of the highest in the nation?
So like, here's what matters, right? Yes, it is high, but here's what matters.
Don't be humble, but it is.
What matters is like if an animal shelter is a 90% or above, right? And so it's not about the numbers. Everybody's like, you care about the numbers. It's politics. You want to raise money, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like what actually matters is saving animal lives. And the way that we measure that in my field is a 90% or better save rate. And what that means, what it represents is that we're saving all the animals that can be saved. Like that's the most important thing that I could say on this podcast today is that like if you want to know how your local animal shelter is doing, ask how there's what is their save rate. And if they say that it's 90% or better, you can like make a mental note that, oh, they're like be classified as no kill. They're saving all the animals that can be saved. And so like the number is going to change every year. It's like 95, 91, 92, whatever. The point is 90% or better because it's it's just like a way of doing business. It's like a litmus test on their values. It's just like it just says like it says a lot about that community that they care about their furry family members so much so that they'll invest in that animal resource center to ensure that they're 90% or above, which means they're saving all the animals that can be saved. And we shouldn't shame the animal shelters that are below 90%. What it helps us do is have a constructive conversation about like, oh my gosh, that shelter is struggling. What can we do as a community to support them to get to 90% or above, which means that they are saving all of our furry family members. And that, Kevin, is where you come in, right? Like you and I had those conversations. I let you know that we have a 53% save rate. We were like, that does not represent who we are as a York County community. That is not like a reflection of who we are as people in our community. That doesn't represent like how we feel about our furry family members, that all of our family members who are landing in our local animal shelter half of them are dying. Like that doesn't represent who we are. And so Kevin, you and other donors like supported my vision. And 3 years later, like we crafted a life-saving model that got us to 90% or above, which means we're saving all the animals that can be saved. So Mike, that is my soapbox. Thank you for the opportunity to share that with your audience. That is like very important to me. And I'm like super grateful that I could say that.
Well, there's a lot of parallels, if you wouldn't mind me interjecting, Mike, here between the visionary leadership, and many people said it wasn't possible.
Yes, they did.
And Steven, but you know what? The world was never changed by the cynics and the naysayers. It's changed by the dreamers and the believers who enter the arena and they believe that they can. They believe in the I'm possible. And with passion and purpose, look, in 3 years, 53% to 95%. And despite overwhelming people saying it can't be done. And in many cases, the same thing that I am in the midst of, and we are doing together with Kindness Worldwide. I mean, early in this journey of forming Kindness Worldwide, the vision, right? Visionary leadership, I'm telling you, no one believed it was possible.
Yeah.
No one. No. But, the only one that matters is one. What mattered was I believed in it. Steven believed in it, right? And then once you start executing, others start to see it happening, then they believe it too. And because we believed in our community, like we knew it was possible. We knew the save rate, just like York County, Pennsylvania, we know the heart, soul, and character of our community. If you believe in them, right, and you say, here's our vision, they will be inspired to follow through. And then the magic happens.
Randall, absolutely spot on, daggum straight, buddy. The world has changed by visionaries like you. That is why no matter what's happening, good or bad, challenging, I'm the most blessed guy in the world, man. I'm around people who, they just look at what's happening here. None of us need to do any of this. And yet here we are figuring it out, all passion and no clue, and making a serious dent in things that matter, pets' lives. But it goes farther than the pets. This is what really gets me going, guys. And tell me what you want to pull up and anything, man. This is your show. I'm honored to show people what can happen and how they can get involved. But you guys figured out that the reason that the pets are having problems is because the people of the community are having problems. And instead of saying, oh, well, that's too bad. And you went to work, man. You went to work and y'all started really finding the solutions, right? So there's so many things, right? Domestic violence, that causes the issues. People who want to take care of their pets, but they don't have the income for whatever legit, reason. And so talk about that a little bit, if you don't mind, my friend, and tell people like, hey, this is the aspect of how we're doing it, because I'm going to make him blush again. You guys have been the model. Other organizations in this wheelhouse, right? They come to you all to say, hey, what are they doing? And how can we, take pieces of this and implement this in our organization? And that is, man, that's the biggest, form of flattery right there. When everybody else like, hey, he's on to something. They're on to something together. Tell us.
Yeah, I take a kind of a playbook from Kevin's playbook. So like it takes a humble perspective, and like as a leader, you want to try to like examine your biases and why you believe and do what you do, and like question, is that the best thing, the right thing? And so like that's like part of how we started. And so for instance, like in my world, the old school way of thinking about things is that like the best, like if you want to surrender your pet to us, picture pet owners, people who love their pets. Like they can never imagine a scenario where they would ever surrender their pet to us. And in fact, like it got so far as to where like they would judge other people for surrendering their pet to an animal shelter. Right. And so if you think about a person who works at an animal shelter, like we had that same assumption and bias. And so like, if you want to surrender your pet to us, we would judge you. We would be like, oh my gosh, you want to surrender your pet to us? You must not be a good pet owner. Your animal is better off with us than with you. And so we would just like allow these animals to come into our building, no question asked. And more often than not, we would get ourselves back. This is like back in the day, like we would get ourselves into a situation where we were just like full of animals all the time. And so we're just like you hear about these shelters that are constantly full, and it's because they're just accepting animals into their building, no questions asked, because they just assume that those animals are better off with them than with the person who wants to surrender their pet. And you can like understand how they would think that way, right? Like it makes like you understand that, right? Yeah. You understand both sides when you think about it that way. And so what we started to do was like ask questions. We started to ask people like, why Like why do you want to surrender your pet to us? Like what gut-wrenching decisions in your life led you to make this like difficult decision to want to surrender your pet to us? And then we started to learn things about people, and we started to learn that like the reasons why people wanted to surrender their pets to us is not because they're bad people or because they don't care. It's because they had like some sort of situation in their life that they couldn't avoid and they needed help. And so then we were able to like invest in programs that supported them so that they could stay with their beloved furry family member. So an example, Mike, that you're alluding to and setting me up for is this. So like for just like one example, like most people are surprised to learn that human service programs exist at an animal shelter. And you're like, what the heck? Like, why would human service programs exist at an animal shelter? And it's because people view their pets as a member of the family. Our job is to keep the family united with their pets. So a reason why people surrender their pet to us is because they're experiencing domestic violence, like you mentioned, Mike. And so like, this is kind of like a tough subject to talk about, but it's just like the world that I live in. So just to go into that for a minute, like a person will stay in a domestic violence situation because they're afraid of what will happen to their pet if they leave it behind.
Wow. See, you just wouldn't think of that, man.
Yeah. And in fact, a person will control the other person by threatening to harm their animal.
Oh,
and it's tough to think about that, but it happens. Like I hear these stories a couple times a month. And so what we do is we have this Safe Pet program that Kevin has supported in the past, where we offer free refuge for people's pets who need to flee a domestic violence situation. So we work with a nonprofit organization specializes in domestic violence. We're a part of the exit strategy. So we'll go in and get that animal out of the building or out of their home, or they'll bring their animal to us. And so we offer safe refuge for their pets that gives them peace of mind so that they can focus on their situation, so they can find affordable housing, safe housing. And then while their pet is with us, we provide all the medical care for free. We feed them and play with them, and we send them pictures of their pets every day. They can come and visit their pets whenever they want. They don't have to feel like a piece of crap for bringing their pets to us. It's just temporary refuge. And then when they get their housing stabilized and their feet under them, we reunite them with their pet, which prevents a surrender. And that is the point, right? And like, yeah, so just like another example of a human service approach. So like another reason why people surrender their pet to us is not because they're bad people or because they don't care. It's because their pet is struggling with some sort of life-saving medical issue, and it costs like thousands of dollars at like an animal hospital to have that surgery done to save their animal life. So they'll surrender their pet to us, knowing that we would provide that life-saving surgery so we can put them up for adoption. And so we have another human service program that provides life-saving surgery for pets coming from low-income households. We do the surgery for free or at cost, and then afterwards we reunite them with their pet, which prevents a surrender. So it's like, like Kevin, it's what you're saying, like pets are part of the family, and we do what we can to keep the whole family united. And that is kindness, right? Like to me, that's kindness embodied.
Man.
Well, it's absolutely true that, as you know, the vision of Kindness Worldwide is to create a culture of kindness in communities throughout the world. And it's impossible to have that culture without compassion for animals. And so, animal welfare is crucial, in executing that vision. And Steven discussed the Safe Pets program, and Tracy Ann Palmer was on this live stream not long ago. If you recall, Tracy Ann she nearly died before her 21st birthday because of domestic violence. It was an act of kindness of two neighbors who actually saved her life, that she reconnected with after years and years later, being inspired by how I connected with Brooke. And if you recall, what she said is that, and I didn't learn this till after I knew Tracy Ann for a while. We were talking about it, but the reason she stayed in an unsafe situation was because she did not want to leave her cat companion behind.
Oh,
and so there's an actual example of someone who was in a domestic violence situation, had a furry family member, right? And exactly that's what the Safe Pets program is designed to resolve, is that, give them a safe haven for their animal so they can then seek the safe havens that they need.
Yeah.
And I just realized this. I mean, pets pets give us so much emotional support. Sometimes it feels like they're the only ones that love us, especially in those kind of situations.
Yeah.
And then not only are we giving up the pet, now we got that support that's no longer there for someone going through the worst part of life,
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
it's just, and for you all to see that, or at least care enough to look and really dive into that, is just remarkable. Because life's busy, and it's not that other people don't care. It's just, thank goodness that it happened, right? Thank goodness that you guys were the ones that said, you know what, we got to look at this, and now it's so thrilling to see so many other organizations coming to say, hey, they're onto something. How do we incorporate this in our organization? And isn't that the spirit of kindness worldwide, right? It's not about kindness and just being, kumbaya and being nice all the time. This is real impact. This is, think about it. It could be any of our friends, loved ones, colleagues, coworkers, and this is a humongous, could be a huge thing in their life changing, right? It could be the difference between them impacting someone else's life because you guys did this. And so the communal aspect, let me pull this up if you guys don't mind.
Yeah.
This is what this is all about. This is why kindness is like the hub of all this, right? So we had on musicians last time, and the musicians community is coming in to make things happen. And now, well, look at this. Now we got, if I can get the thing to where it is. So now the government, the city, y'all want to talk about the communal aspect of this, because look, it's snowballing.
Yeah, that's like a really good point, Mike. Like, I think you make a really good point. So what most people don't realize is that animal shelters provide an essential service that ensures public health and safety. So it's not just like a nice to have service that makes us feel good, which it does, but it's also like essential. Like, so if like animal shelters were to disappear tomorrow, then what that would mean is like dog bites and animal related attacks would escalate. Zoonotic diseases like rabies would spread unchecked. Animal population growth rates would explode. And also, like you can see in the picture there, we have a Humane Society police officer who's in charge of who enforcing animal cruelty and neglect statutes for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So it's like, like most police forces, they're specialized in the human stuff. They're trained in human stuff. They don't have like the training and equipment to handle the animal piece. So then you've got the local animal shelter like ours, who has a police officer on staff. I'm a nonprofit organization, but I employ a police officer who has a badge, a gun, can serve a warrant. When we're in Pennsylvania, we're responsible for enforcing Title 18, which is cruelty and neglect statute for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So like we ran a study a few years ago, it was like 4 years ago, where animal cruelty and neglect has occurred or is occurring, there's a 62% chance that child abuse has occurred or is occurring. And there's a 73% chance that spousal abuse has occurred or is occurring. So you think about like the downstream consequences we're preventing through our animal cruelty and neglect enforcement. And so it's like, why, like we're providing like most people, when they think about us, they think about puppies, kittens, and adoption. And that's a thing, but it's like, what they don't realize is that we're ensuring public health and safety. And so like those would be example, like that picture that you're showing there is like, so in York County, Pennsylvania, we have 72 municipalities. All 72 municipalities contract with my organization to provide animal services. And they contract with us because like they have a choice, like government has a choice. They either have to like have a municipal shelter, a county shelter, or a city shelter, or they contract with a private service provider to provide those essential government function services, which is what we do in Pennsylvania. And so that one of those pictures is like the municipalities who contract with us. The other one is the law enforcement officers who are doing the animal cruelty and neglect like enforcement. So it's not just puppies, kittens, and adoption. It's like ensuring healthy, safe communities as well, which I think is interesting and most people don't think about when they think about an animal shelter.
Well, Mike, everyone loves a great story, right? And obviously the story of kindness worldwide and the stories within the stories are, fascinating. But, Steven could tell you many, many stories, very endearing stories. And of course, you see a lot of things that you don't want to see, right, in terms of the abuse and neglect. But, York City Police were the first to issue kindness citations, right? Commissioner Muldrow. So York City Police Department really has taken a leadership role and embraced kindness citations and a lot of the initiatives of kindness worldwide, as has, the whole county and multiple police departments. But But the connection between the York City Police and animals, I know Steven has a wonderful, wonderful story with a beautiful, happy ending that has related to a York City police officer. Steven, would you mind maybe sharing that story for everyone?
Yeah, happy to. And Muldrow could elaborate. He's our police commissioner. But yeah, there he is there, Mike. But yeah, so like an example is there was a bad person in our county who was known among policing to, you know, kind of be a pretty shady character. And one day, like, a member of the community saw this bad person. Like, there's not an easy way to say this, but like basically like taking a 2x4 and beating a puppy German Shepherd with this board, to, you know, just beating him up, just swinging the bat at him. And this person called up the local police, and Muldrow, one of his officers, was first on the scene, and then my officer was soon after. But that first officer on the scene got the puppy German Shepherd out of that situation. And then, of course, my organization, we pressed cruelty and neglect, or just cruelty charges, and made sure that person couldn't have animals anymore. But what's cool about the story, and which just speaks to like the heart of York County, really, is that you know, like we press charges, we go through the whole process, we bring the German Shepherd into our organization. He was on the brink of death. We use the Second Chance Fund, which is, Kevin, what you donated to. We, like, you know, resuscitate the puppy German Shepherd. We put a little puppy cast on his arm. You know, he had like a black eye, and we like treated the eye, and we got him in his cast, and we just were like really tender with him for about a month or two. And then he like started getting confident and like regained his confidence. And my team and I worked with him. And then finally we got him to a place where his like health was stabilized, and we can put him up for adoption. And Kevin, who was the one to adopt Chance, the puppy German Shepherd, but of course the responding officer, who was the one who got him, literally carried him out of that situation and brought him to the York County SPCA. So it was one of Muldrow's officers who ended up adopting that puppy, just to talk about the bond that he created in that moment of saving that German Shepherd, which is like a reflection of who we are as a community, that you can't do that. That's over the line. And we're going to stand up for that animal, because we're going to stand up for our values and our principles as a community.
Yeah, see, you missed it when I said I want to move to York, man. I mean, dang, I'm serious. Y'all don't mess around up there. Hey, you catch
we don't mess around. Like, you just don't do that, right?
Well, you know, Mike and Steven, this is, and you know, historians, you know, York is known to be the nation's first capital. Now, historians can debate that, but it's where the Articles of Confederation were signed and this and that. But one thing historians cannot debate is that York City was the first. It is the first city of kindness, because Mayor Helfrich was the first to proclaim Kindness Week worldwide. That's now spreading in communities everywhere. But it does reveal, I mean, everyone should come to York. York is a wonderful, you know, I've lived here my whole life. And Steven can relate to this, is that, you know, there's heart and character in this community. And what is happening in this community, what's happened with the York County SPCA, the save rate, it took all of us. It took the community to support that, right? That vision. But the magic that's happening in York County is really special. And if something so special can happen in York County, it occurred to me it can happen anywhere and everywhere. And that's certainly the movement of Kindness Week worldwide, and what we're trying to inspire with Kindness Worldwide with a lot of our initiatives. But it's all happening in York. It's a great place to visit. So everyone's welcome.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. You know, this is good for tourism as well. Nobody even tried to do that. So I tell you what, you don't mess around. Listen, because there's no reason for it. You can't say, oh, I didn't have the resources. It's York, dude. If you're beating an animal, it's pretty easy. Like, because we got all these services to help you. So there's no reason to mess around. And by the way, Steven, folks can go to the website. It's down here. York County SPCA.org. And you don't have to live there to donate and be involved. How can people get involved, and what can they do to make this a positive impact, brother?
Yeah. Go to our website. I would encourage them to sign up for our e-newsletter. We send out like 4 or 6 newsletters a year. They're really informative. We are involved at a national level. Like, we're seen as a life-saving model that's emulated throughout the country. So just like follow us on social media as well. Our content's pretty, you know, I'm biased, but like, our content is pretty awesome. We tell good stories. We have great staff. Like, we're seen as the leaders in this space. So if you're into animals and you're into kindness and you're into these ideas that we're talking about, like you should follow us on our e-newsletter and our social media platforms. You know, and like if you live locally, like within our region, we have one of the most successful, most productive, high volume, low cost spay neuter clinics. So you can have your pet spayed and neutered at our clinic. We did almost 13,000 spay neuter surgeries last year.
Wow.
Yeah. So like we're not messing around in York County. We're pretty awesome. So like just follow us. And if you live local, just go to our website and you can apply to be a volunteer as well and donate and all the things that you would do as a nonprofit.
Well, before we run out, because we have a special, we're not stopping. Hey, York's going to dominate the hounds at least once a month. So you mentioned the police commissioner, right, Kevin? So is it March 19th? All right, you want to announce that? Go ahead and tell them what's going to happen March 19th.
Yeah, if you can get Muldrow, he's awesome, man.
Yeah, March 19th, we're going to have York City Police Commissioner Michael Muldrow with us. He was the first to really embrace and champion this effort of kindness citations. And under his visionary leadership, the crime rate in New York City is the lowest ever on record. And it's visionary leadership again, transformational leadership, changing the paradigm. And many things in Michael Muldrow will be quick to credit the community. It was a community initiative. We all did it together, right? He's a modest guy too. He's a humble guy, but honestly, it starts with visionary leadership at the top. So he's going to be joining us on March 19th. We're also going to have Jamie Norpel, who heads up the York County Safety Co-Lab.
Oh, she's so great. Jamie's great.
She's phenomenal. And so Kindness Worldwide, collaboration with York County Safety Co-Lab and Jamie, we actually had, in addition to York City Police, York County Sheriffs, we had probably a dozen police departments in York County issuing kindness citations, and the York County Safety Co-Lab, coordinates amongst all the police departments. And I know Jamie's a visionary leader as well, very heart-centered. And, we have aspirations to really expand it even further this year, not just within York County, but beyond. So they're going to be joining us on March 19th. And I'm just as excited about that as I am tonight. And I was pretty excited about talking about the York County SPCA and animals this evening, as you can tell.
I mean, we're the hounds. I mean, so, you can't hate dogs and be the hounds, right? I mean, so, but we had to share this. All right. So little Bella's in your lap, right? Everybody loves pets, or at least most people. And so there's little Bella. Is this a recent picture?
It's a couple years ago, but it's one of my favorite pictures. There's many of them. I mean, gosh, Bella can't take a bad picture. But yeah, it's she's my little girl. She definitely she loves her mommy too, but she's definitely this one's daddy's girl, and she's part of the family, no doubt about it. I can't claim her as a dependent on my tax return. I wish I could, because she's diabetic, so I got it. We give her insulin, and she's had 2 ACL surgeries on each of her hind legs, but you never know it because she still runs around the house and is good as new. But but you do what you got to do for those you love, and we certainly love our pets.
Absolutely, and these are older pictures too. And Steven, you'll get this. Most people don't get this. I love the picture that we showed with you earlier, holding the dog, because that's a Norwegian elk hound.
Heck yeah, it is. And I see you have an elk hound on the picture there.
Absolutely. That's Rosie. That's the one on the promo pictures and all that good stuff in the video. Yeah,
those are my heart dogs.
She passed away, and it's sad because that was her little buddy. Oh. And she grew up, and that's why there's a reason she's not sitting here with me like little Bella. Oh, she is not behaving like Bella, not for 5 seconds. She acts like me. All right. But it was just the cutest, and the little girls. And then when we brought the cats in, her name's Harley, right? So we got a DNA test on her. She was 68% pit, 18% beagle, which explains a lot of the silliness, and a bunch of other stuff. We brought these.
That sounds like classic shelter dog to me. That is our bread and butter right there.
Oh my gosh, we thought she was a panther. She acted like a cat for the longest time. It was weird. And then we brought the cats home, and she terrorized these kittens, man. These kittens were barn kitties. And guess what? As you well know, now the cats own the dog.
For sure.
Crazy. Yeah.
That was inevitable. I could have told you that a mile away. Yeah.
It was there. They don't play around no more. And it's sad because the dog doesn't have a dog buddy. So she tries to make the cats the dogs, and they don't like that. So
hey, you know what, Mike? I'm just gonna let you know a guy. So when you're ready, I'm happy to hook you up with a shelter pet.
Yeah. Oh, I don't need any more pets. I need less kids and pets right now, but I didn't say that, Kevin.
You can't surrender your kids to us. We're just animals owned.
Man, I'm a country people, so whatever you Northerners got out there, multiply that by 5. Right? That's kind of how we do it. So,
Fair enough.
Well, you're always welcome to come visit us in York. Mike, you're part of the family. So
You know what? I was
welcome.
just gonna say I'm surprised that you can multiply out there. So good for you, Mike. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
oh,
Oh boy.
oh, Steven.
I feel good about that
Keep
joke.
on coming.
Oh man. Yeah, hey, this is fun. This is what I mean. Y'all
We
listen,
tease because we love.
oh, I know it. This is what I'm talking about, guys. Shameless plug for the Hounds, all amazing people in the comments, supporters, friends. Jump on. Life's hard. If you got a passion out there and you don't know how to do it, like me, all passion, no clue, don't do it alone. All right, plug into a community of folks like this online with us, man. You know, hey, look at this. You join us. That's what check it. I got a group call. Go to Hounds of Business on YouTube. Go to my LinkedIn page, Hounds of Business, and join a group call. Come plug in. We're going to open up social networking for the masses soon. We're just, hey, instead of going to group calls all the time, just, hey, check out who we are. That's who I want to do business with. There's a whole bunch of people out there, but there's only one Steven and one Kevin, right? And that's what I'm looking at. So, hey,
That's enough.
y'all, yeah, you got that right. So, and 5 guitars that he don't play, or 6. He doesn't never play. You got to take one off the wall and play.
They're part of the family too, Mike.
Yeah, man, he takes care of stuff. I'm down. If I go to York, I'm staying at Kevin's house.
You're always welcome. We got room.
It's a
Well,
party.
Yeah, well, Bella will get the good bed. I know. I'll bring my camping mat. That's what I already know.
We're on the floor.
Oh man, this is going to be amazing. Thank you all so much. So, Kevin, thank you for tying us together with Kindness Worldwide. Is there anything you'd like to add? As far as getting involved with Kindness Worldwide, what's kind of around the corner? Hey, shameless plug time, brother. People love this.
Everyone's welcome to visit our website, www.kindnessworldwide.org, and there's plenty of resources and means of support. We love for you to join the movement with us. We know the Hounds community has totally embraced this effort. We're so appreciative. But it's going to take all of us to take this movement as far as I know it can go, and we will. And we'll do it together. It's not my story, it's our story. And as I alluded to in the opening video, like the most beautiful part of the story are the chapters we're all going to collectively write together what's going to happen next. And it's been nothing less than magical already. There's magic in our midst, and miracles, that's our destiny. And also we're in the midst now. It's a global activation, our Hard Hands for Kindness. And it's a global movement. It's a movement within the movement, where we're inviting and welcoming others to connect with others and form a heart like this, but do it with someone else and post their photos and tag us. And that's a movement that's literally spreading throughout the world. And we're going to be activating a local version of that soon with our alliance with Give Local York and Lisa Barshinger, another visionary leader, by the way. And I encourage you to go to my LinkedIn page, my personal page. We also have a Kindness Worldwide page. We have Facebook, and you will see some of the posts and how we form hearts with others and spread kindness throughout the world. And we're going to do that in more ways than one. So just thank you all. Thanks to the Hounds community. Thanks for everyone, your audience this evening. And I'll just leave with what I say all the time. It's the mantra of Kindness Worldwide. It's see the good, be the good, go the extra mile, and be the reason someone believes in the goodness of people. And if we all do just that, with things we can't control each day, our world will be forever changed. So thank you again so much, Mike and Steven, and thank you to everyone listening and viewing this evening.
Phenomenal job, Steven, man. You are a busy man. Thank you. And Legia, hopefully I said that right. Hey, you got to DM me. We got a positive peer pressure for her. This lady's always showing up. I love her comments. Looks like Hounds material. And Randall, he is that's a Hound. I'm sorry,
Kindness Worldwide ambassador.
Yeah, look, that's what I mean, man. We got to be eating dinner and getting ready to kids for school, and they're showing up for each other, man. Thank you for what you do, guys, man. I'm gonna get all mushy again and start a new show, but all right. Hey, we got so much going on. Hey, every night tune in 7 p.m. Dadgummit, I can't even talk. So, all right. Thank you all for the grace and patience. We're going to roll this video as the outro. Check it out. Stay tuned. And Lonica, thank you so much as well. It is amazing, guys. I just can't get over it. So there's more to come. And Steven, thank you. So everybody go to kindnessworldwide.org and YC, right? York County SPCA.org. Y'all have a good one. I'm going to go ahead and get this all taken care of so we can roll this awesome video. All right, Princess Wave time. All right, be silly. Why stop now?
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank y'all for stopping by. Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.